No video. We're into the 70s. As you know, we're talking overviews of the major years of rock, and we're going to be getting into more and more groups as we move around. But we're talking about the 70s right now as an overview, which I think the 70s may have been the best decade of rock. Very underrated 10 years, but incredible music. 70s was the blossoming of the 60s. And then in the middle of the 70s, the new wave came in and really started changing things again. As we started coming out of the 60s, we had some really excellent groups that had started in the 60s and it started really spreading their wings in the 70s. You had Jethro Tull, you had Deep Purple, you have groups like that went out and started really getting big. Jethro Tull started with Stand Up, worked its way into Aqualung. We all know Aqualung, one of the biggest and greatest albums of the 70s. Thick as a Brick, which I really enjoyed, and they were great. A live concert with Ian Anderson on one leg doing his flute and a really tight band behind him. You had Wishbone Ash, maybe the first and really the best, in my opinion, a double lead guitar group that really came out. They talked to each other, the guitars talked to each other. That group needed a lead singer, but it had an album called Argus that was absolutely incredible, and their music, you could just turn off the lights and go crazy. As the 70s started wearing on, you had another couple groups that we may have heard of. How about Queen? They had 4 great albums that really got them started. Their first album, Black and White, third album, and then, of course, Night at the Opera. After that, they became a singles group. We saw them in concert. They rocked. Part of the problem was, though, midway through the concert, the right side of the loudspeakers blew out. We were in Harrisburg listening to them, and it was really kind of sad because they were cooking. Brian May on guitar, great rhythm. Freddie Mercury, of course, one of the best lead singers of all time. As the 60s, then you had another group. As the 60s went on, you had the Kinks, which started out with You Really Got Me and All Day to All the Night. And most people who kind of know rock think that's where the Kinks ended, and they didn't. Kinks came out and had some great music in the early 70s. And then in the late 70s, when the new wave came around, they came out with some more music. And with songs like Life Goes On, they just kept putting out their incredible anthems. You had a lot of other groups, The Move, which morphed into Electric Light Orchestra. You had Strawbs, you had the Rolling Stones really putting out some great music in the early 70s. There was just a lot of major music. As we started going from the early 70s into the late 70s, the middle and the late 70s, alternative music, the new wave came around, and man, was there some music there. Elvis Costello, Graham Parker, Mr. Underrated, Hotel Chambermaid, just so much great music. Robin Trower, which was the end of the early 70s, but he rolled into the late 70s with his keeping the guitar rocking. You had Clash, you had the Sex Pistols, you had the Pretenders, Chrissie Hynde. Oh, you talk about some of the greatest singers, women singers of all time. Janis Joplin, Chrissie Hynde belongs right in there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Man, could she sing, and she had a great group, had 2 great albums, Mystery Achievement, some major music on there. I'm the Adulteress, and she could sing, and she was Ray Davies' girlfriend, I believe, for a while, or he was her boyfriend for a while, and she just really rocked out. We're going to talk about the Pretenders because they had some of the greatest music around, and Chrissie was just amazing. Amazing, as you all know, is our favorite word here. So as the 70s went on, the new wave came out. First went to garage, then the new wave, and then things just kept on rocking. Other groups that were just kind of moseying around, coming out with a couple songs here and a couple songs there. Blondie, which of course we all know. Debbie Harry, who was sexy as could be and really had a great voice, and things were really... Things were rocking in the 70s. They were just going. Of course, Iggy Pop was working his way all the way through, become the man that he became. And it's just some incredible music in the 70s. We're going to go back on that. But remember, no video when we're listening to music. We listen. We don't look. We listen. No video. Audio. Peace.